Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today's Intro to Game Dev Workshop. Before we kick off the event officially here today, usually I like to start off by just doing a quick little audio visual check. Make sure that everybody can see me okay, everybody can hear me okay. Feel free to use the chat log off to the right-hand side there. Hagen, thank you. Hello. I see some thumbs up. I see some emojis coming up. Perfect. Everyone can see me. Awesome. Great. And then also on the bottom there, you can see there's the chat log. Beside that, there's also a questions tab, and there's also a polls tab. So I think I have 2 polls, I believe, for today's presentation. There should be 1 in there already. And I will drop another poll in probably about halfway through the presentation. Outside of that, the questions tab, we will go through some Q&A at the very end here today. So feel free to post the questions. If we don't answer them right away, it's kind of intentionally. We're usually holding off until the end so we can post them up for the class and answer in front of everybody. And then the chat log, I can see everyone's kind of found that already off to the side. It's very engaging and people are connecting already, which is perfect. Of course, continue to do that throughout the presentation as well. Also, I guess I can invite everyone to share where they are joining us from. I personally am from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Another Calgary. Oh, that's Instructor Manager who's with us today, of course. Toronto, Montreal. Oh, it's going so fast. Ontario, California, Vancouver, Montreal, Los Angeles, BC. Amazing. Well, welcome. Thank you, everyone, for joining us here today. We are going to officially kick off the presentation. I should also mention we did send out an email in advance with a few downloads. So if people haven't downloaded Unity yet, this would be a really good time to make sure that you do have Unity downloaded, especially while I go through the beginning part of the presentation here. And then there was also an asset download. I believe Indi just shared it again in the chat log there. So if anybody didn't get that via email, feel free to click and download. For Unity, for an account, you do have to have an account, but it is free. So you just have to go through, sign up for a quick Unity account the same way you would when you're creating like an email account. And then you should be able to download Unity itself for free too. So with that being said, I am going to kick off. If anybody has any questions there, just throw it in the chat. Our instructor manager, Indi, who's running the workshop today, is also here, and he's looking through the chat and responding in real time. So with that being said, I am going to kick off the actual presentation here. So my name is Tyler. I am the marketing events manager at CircuitStream. I've been with the company for just over 2 years. Previously, before this, I worked in travel and tourism for about 10 plus years. It was kind of like my pre-COVID life. And I am a video game enthusiast. I always consider myself like a senior Fortnite player at 37 years old. Hello, Lori. Hello, everyone. Also today, we will have Indica joining us. Indi is our instructor manager at CircuitStream. He's worked and led the design and development of multiple shipped games. And he also recently just released a book, which is unbelievable. He will be conducting the workshop portion of today's session, and I will invite him on stage in just a couple of minutes here. We love Fortnite. Yeah, me too. Before I get him on stage, though, I would like to start off the presentation by giving everyone a quick overview of who CircuitStream is. So CircuitStream began in 2015 through a network of developers, designers, and creators who are pioneering the virtual and augmented reality ecosystem. CircuitStream saw a need for education and training that would empower people to build Unity and XR applications and advance the industry's frontiers. We now partner with industry-leading companies and leading educational institutions to offer courses and training for those looking to learn about emerging technologies such as XR, game development, and game design. You can see some of our partners there on the screen. Hi, David. I'd like to also share some information about the gaming industry overall and some of the opportunities within this space. So becoming a game developer can be a rewarding career choice for individuals who are passionate about gaming, for those who have a flair for problem solving, technology, and creative and interactive experiences. On your screen right now, you can see some of the top reasons why people would choose to work as game developers. I'm actually going to pause here for just a quick second. I should have mentioned this right at the very beginning. I'll probably mention this a few times throughout the presentation in case anybody hops in late. But this full presentation will be recorded and it will be sent out, emailed out to everybody at the end. So If there's any stats in here, if there's any information, I mean, you can write it down, you can take screenshots, you can do anything you like, but you don't have to. You can sit back, relax, and enjoy, because we will send you a full recording of the presentation afterwards. So I always just like to make sure I mention that for you. The gaming industry as a whole has expanded significantly in recent years. In the US, there are over 3,000 game studios employing almost 300,000 people. And in Canada, there has been tremendous growth over the last few years with over 900 active game studios, which is about a 35% increase since just 2019, which is crazy. Not only that, the game industry contributed to over $5 billion to Canada's GDP, and that's a 29% increase in the last 4 years, I should say. So as you can see, there is definitely a lot of potential in this industry. And again, you'll get all of these stats. How long is this session? Try and do a bit of planning, no problem. The session today is set to run for about an hour to an hour and a half. Sometimes it can go a little bit longer if we have some Q&A, but again, it is all recorded. So if at any point, if you have to dive out, as long as you've registered, you will get a full recording of the event afterwards. So, and if you have any questions or anything afterwards that you weren't able to attend and ask live, just reach out to our team. We're happy to kind of assist with that stuff. So. Currently, there are over 8,000 job openings for game developers in the United States alone, with the average salary sitting at about $121,000 annually. Now, of course, is a great time to get into the industry. Some of the titles that you would end up when you go through courses like this would be game developer, game engineer, game programmer, so on and so forth. I'm sure you're aware of some of the titles there. These are a few of the many companies that hire for positions that we've mentioned in the previous slides. So many well-known companies such as EA Games, Rockstar Games, Epic Games are hiring in this space, but there's also many smaller indie game studios as well, like Cloudhead Games, Extremely OK Games, who are also hiring in this space. We partner with many of these companies, a few that are on the screen right now, but we partner with both large studios as well as indie studios. And I will share a little bit more about our career support as a part of our bootcamp later on in this session, but we would be inviting some of these companies to view our students' projects at the end of the bootcamps as well. So. And before we officially dive into the workshop, I'm going to invite Indi up in just a quick second here. Riot Games, let's go. We love Valorant. Absolutely. We just partnered with a speaker from Riot recently as well. And I need to start playing Valorant. I haven't tried it yet. I know it's bad. I haven't tried yet. But before we officially dive in, though, I wanted to share a little bit of information because we received a bunch of interest from some younger learners for this session here today. So we are going to be sharing information on our adult game development bootcamp throughout the workshop. That's kind of the focus in what we're doing here today. But for anybody in the audience who is between the ages of 13 to 18, or if you know a younger learner who's looking for education options, please feel free to reach out and let us know. As you can see on the screen, we do offer summer camp and after school course options through various different topics, and these are offered through some of our university partners there. So if anybody has any questions with that, feel free to reach out. I see a me from Jace in the audience. I have an 8-year-old who would be interested. We're not quite down to 8 yet. We're looking at different ways to engage younger and younger learners because it's becoming a very strong demand. But the youngest we're going to currently would be 13, so they'd have a couple years before that. But feel free to reach out and ask any questions about that. We're happy to have those conversations for sure. And without further ado, I am going to officially invite Indi up on stage so that we can get the workshop portion started for today's event. So welcome, Indi. Thank you for joining us here.
Hello. Good morning, good evening, good night from wherever you are joining. How are you all doing? All right, awesome. Cool. So don't worry if you do not have Unity installed as of right now. Obviously it's a gigantic file to download and it's going to take a while to download and install, and I don't want you to do that. If you do not have Unity and if you cannot follow along with me, feel free to sit back and relax. So you can always watch the recording. We're going to be sharing the recording with you after the session, and also you have access to all the files. Awesome. So who here, I mean, maybe you can put a thumbs up or something, is expecting to follow along with me? Who here is expecting to make this spooky? Oh wow, awesome! A lot of thumbs ups. Alrighty, okay. How do you thumbs up? There is a button called React, a smiley, probably right under me over here. Aha, there you go. Okay, so who here, I mean, if you're hoping to follow along with me, obviously you should have Unity installed. We shared a link to a video which explained the whole thing. But if you do not have Unity right now, I'm not sure whether you'd have enough time to install the giant software. So, okay, I can see a bit of tears. That's okay. You can follow along, with watching the recording. But if you feel like you want to ask questions, you're open to jump into our Discord channel. I'm there already. I'm there like all the time, and you can ask all of our instructors as well. Awesome. So who here is completely new to Unity? Like never have even opened Unity before. Completely open to Unity. Oh wow, we have memes and we have a bunch of thumbs ups. That's amazing. That's awesome. So if you have done a little bit of Unity, you have some experience. Because I had a bunch of thumbs up from everybody who's like extremely new to Unity, I'm going to be a little bit slow, so don't worry if it is slow. I'm trying to explain everything as much as possible today. All right, so I am going to share my screen. Let me know if you can see my screen. I am going to share this screen. There you go. Can you see my screen? All right. Okay, so I have my legendary whiteboard. I usually start with my whiteboard. I love my whiteboard. I don't like slides. So today, what we're going to do is this. We are going to, we're going to spawn a couple of ghosts. And we're going to spawn a bunch of pumpkins. And you are going to be the person who is collecting the pumpkins, right? Right. So you have to jump, you have to move across each and every pumpkin, and you have to collect them. And if you meet a ghost, the ghost will follow you. And if the ghost catches you, the game is over, right? If you want to win, you have to collect all the pumpkins in the scene, right? And you have to do it in dark. You cannot do this in, with all the lights. So you have to do it in dark. And we have to build a small world where it's like dark outside, right? So there's going to be trees, there's going to be mountains and things like that. And we're hoping to do it within just 1 hour. But I'm not going to do everything from scratch. I have given you all the assets, 3D models and everything to quickly get started. Even a little bit of code. I'm not hoping to do a lot of code today. I want you to get familiar with the interface, familiar with what we have here. So I have done a little bit of work for you, and we're going to do the rest, right? Awesome. So what we're going to do is we are going to open Unity Hub. So if you have installed Unity, the first thing that you have to do in order to install Unity is to open up, install Unity Hub, and then you have to log in using a Unity ID. I believe you have already done this. And through this is where you have to actually install a Unity version. So as you can see here in the install section, I have a bunch of different versions installed. Today, I am going to use 2022 LTS version. LTS means long-term support version. Even if you have 2020 or 2021, it's going to be okay. But there are a little bit of differences in between 2020 and 2022, the version that I'm using. I only have one version. That's totally okay. Like I have Unity open every day. So I have so that's probably why I have a bunch of different versions. Don't worry, you don't have to download anything more. Just make sure that you have 2022.3 or any version which is more than 2020, right? We're going to be using something which is relevant to artificial intelligence because the ghost is an AI. We need the AI ghost to follow you, and I'm going to teach you how that AI works. All right, so I have 2022. My editor hasn't been finished its download yet. Is it okay? We need to open a new project, so it is better to have your Unity installed. But I'll try to be a little bit slow as possible. I'll try to explain as much as possible. But we have a very limited time, So if you have, if you're falling behind, just quickly let me know. I'll try to be as slow as possible. Is there a reason to need multiple different versions? Good question. If you are working on like projects that would go to like 2-3 years, and it is not recommended to move to like newer versions every time. Like move to, in the sense, convert your project into newer versions every time. So anyway, I'll keep the questions later. If you have like questions that are not relevant to the project itself, I'll questions that are like generic, please feel free to use the questions tab and we can answer that later. Okay, so go to the projects tab, and this is what you will see. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to click the new project button right over here. Right, so you need to make sure Unity is installed. Click the new project button, and this is where you can see different templates for us to use. Right, so we have different templates. We have 2D, 3D. There is something called 2D URP. There is something called 3D URP, 3D mobile, 2D mobile. There's a bunch. Today we're going to be using 3D URP. Right. Don't worry, it's just a way how Unity renders things. This is the newest deal with Unity, right? We have something called 3D URP. If you click 3D URP for the very first time, you will be able to see a button called Download Template, right? Just go ahead and click it. I'm going to click it. So it will say Downloading Template, because what they do is they just download some initialization assets for you to work with. And once that is done, you will be able to see it like this, right? And also from here, you will be able to choose your editor version. And as you can see here, I'm using 2022. If you have multiple versions and if you want to jump into a different version, you can click here and do that. Okay, so 3D URP, give a project name and give a location, right? So don't call it my project. Let's just call it spooky game, right? And then the location, set it to wherever you want this project to be. Don't put it into your desktop. Make sure you have created a separate folder, right? Otherwise, this is going to create a bunch of different files. Okay, so now go ahead and create project. I'm not going to do that because it takes a little bit of time. I'm not going to do that. Just go ahead and click the create project right now. Okay, so let's see if there are any questions until the project gets created and opened up. My spooky project. Will the recording be posted? I think we will be sending an email with the link to download the recording. Help. What is the help you need, Hayden? It's loading. All right. Can you briefly recap the steps? Okay, let me just do it again. The first thing that you need to do is go to your projects tab and select new project, right? Make sure you have selected 3D URP from here. And from here, you can choose a project name and choose the location you want to save this project. And go ahead and click Create Project. Tina says, is it okay if Microsoft Visual Studio Community is failed downloading? That's okay. We can use any text editor to do the code, but for the moment, it's okay. Yeah. All right. Okay, so if you click Create Project, it's going to take a while to load. If your project is open and if you can see something that looks like this, put a thumbs up. I do have Visual Studio 2017. Is this fine? Exactly. Like it's all good. Awesome. All right. Put a thumbs up if you can see this, what you see in your screen. Should I enter safe mode? That's an issue. It's fine. For the moment, you can enter safe mode. But, I'm pretty sure you're going to have like a bunch of different questions and issues. Even after this session. So I'm requesting you to jump into our Discord community, and we have like all the help there. I'm there, and all the other instructors are there to help you out as well. All right. Okay. All right. So let's get this started. I don't see this. Still loading. Okay. Right. Anyway, still because it's still loading, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to, introduce you the interface, right? Just going to introduce you the interface, and then I will explain what we need to do. Okay. So as you can see here, this is known as the Unity editor, right? This is the Unity editor. And here, in the middle, you can see, which is something called the scene view, right? We have the scene view. This is your 3D view. This is, whatever the ghosts, pumpkins, or everything that we do, that we put in our game is going to be here, right? This is our game world without anything in it, right? It's pretty fun. And you will also be able to see another window called the game window. But for me, I don't have it. Let me just open it up. It's pretty strange why I don't have it. Oh, there you go. All right, so you can see the scene view if you click over here, and then you can see something called the game view. Sorry if this was asked already. The version I have downloaded is slightly different, 2022. That's fine. That's okay. No worries. If this is over 2020, it works. Don't worry. Should I not be downloading Unity on my? You can do that. It's fine. I'm using a MacBook Air as well for my other work, and I have Unity installed there. Yes, it will run. Okay, so we have the scene view and the game view. And also in our left-hand side, we can see something called the hierarchy. And this is where we have a list of all the objects that we have in our scene. If we have a ghost, and that ghost is going to appear here, because it's basically the list of Unity is more lightweight than other stuff like Unreal. Exactly. And also down below, you will be able to see something called the project window. So now Unity is using something called scene. What you can see here is actually a scene, right? But this scene is a file that is saved in the project window, right? In the projects folder. So this is your project folder, and you can see we have a folder called scenes, and here we have this sample scene, right? You can focus. You don't need to follow along with me. You can just focus on the screen, and you can see what I'm showing, right? We have the sample scene. Also on the top, the title bar also shows you we have the sample scene right here, and this is what we have. This is what we have open right now. Okay. So now I believe everybody has their Unity windows open. Don't worry if it is glitchy or not. I'm trying to, that can happen if your computer is a little bit slow. But try to follow along with me. If you're falling a lot behind, let me know. If you're falling, a lot behind, let me know. I'll try to slow down. Even if that, we have to finish this somehow within this hour. Feel free to watch the recording. Anyway, so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to install a package, right? I'm going to install a package. If you remember, maybe I'm going to paste it here. This is actually an 8 megabyte file. It's a very small file, right? It's a very small file. Don't worry if your Unity version is still loading. I'm going to take a little while to explain everything. And, as a matter of fact, you will have access to all the project files after this as well, right? Okay, so I have given you this file right here, right? It says it's the Halloween game assets, right? Right? So what we're going to do is we are going to load this asset that we have given to the project that we have open, right? So make sure that you have your Unity in behind this, right? And make sure that you have the project window open like this. Just click the project window. The screen is black on your end. That's strange. Sorry, what do you click to load the asset? No, this is just a folder. This is a folder. This is my folder. It's in my desktop. That is in my desktop. Right? You will be able to see a file called Halloween game assets. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag and drop it onto the project folder, right? So let me do this again. Click this. Yeah, this is the file that you just downloaded. Just click this link and it will open up a Google Chrome tab and it will download a file, right? And you can see the file if you go to download, if you go to your downloads folder. Yes. Okay, so drag and drop it into the project window. And then you will be able to see something like this, right? Okay. Now you can see I have given you all the assets, right? You can see different sounds. There are spooky sounds. You can see something called materials, 3D models. You have to select everything, right? And now click import. All right. What did I do? I downloaded the file. Let me just put the link here again. Downloaded the file. Where do we have here? And then I open up this file right here, dragged and dropped it on top of the project window, which opened up another window. Yes. How long did it take to build the asset? Seems like usually it depends on the speed of your computer, right? It depends on the speed of your computer. Sometimes it can take 5 to 10 minutes. That's why we ask you to download Unity and just keep it installed. Otherwise, it's gonna take a long time. But yeah, anyone else got 3 errors? Don't worry if you have errors. If you have errors, don't worry about it, right? Because let's just build the thing and let's see if we if there are any errors. Then let's try to fix them. All right. So now. Whoops, sorry about it. Now we need to get familiar with the 3D interface, right? I know that most of you have not familiar with this interface. And, if it's, when it comes to 3D interface, 3D movement, it's going to take a little while to get adjusted to. So I'm not hoping you to be like complete experts in moving around the 3D scene. So what I want you to do is I want you to add a cube into the scene and move around. Not a cube exactly. Let's add a small plane into the scene and move around. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click the hierarchy. Right, so we have the assets downloaded right now. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go to this hierarchy window and we're going to right click the middle of it. All right. Then I'm going to go to 3D object and choose terrain. All right. Right, we're going to add a terrain. Right click the hierarchy, go to 3D object and choose terrain. Oop. And when you do that, you will be able to see something that looks like this. What folder do we drop the package in? You don't have to. You just drag and drop it over here, and it's going to show you the assets. It's going to show you a new folder that looks like this. It's going to show you a Halloween game folder. Is this turn infinite? No, it's 2. By default, it's 2 kilometers. Okay, so now I want you to be a little bit familiar with the movement, right? So how to move around in the Unity interface? Right click the scene, right? Right click, this is your right click button. Right click and hold your mouse. And then you'll see your mouse pointer becoming a small eye, right? And then you can move your mouse up and down, left and right. It's like your head. You're looking up and down. You're not moving around. You're just staying at the same place. And you're just moving your head around. Right? Just move your mouse. Right? Okay, so this is you, actually. Right? This is you just in a 3D space. And you can see this infinite world. Right? You can see this infinite. It's actually not infinite. It's just 2 kilometers. Right? And now, what we're going to do is we are going to add a capsule into our terrain. Does it work pretty much like Blender? No. If you are familiar with Blender, this might be very, this might be a little bit confusing at start, because I was familiar with Unity and then I moved to Blender to do some stuff, and it was a pain for me, not Indi. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to right click again, and we are going to add another 3D object. And this time it's going to be a capsule. Oop. Okay, so I added a terrain and then I added another capsule. And sometimes your capsule, you will be able to see your capsule, behind the terrain or maybe in front of the terrain. It depends on what Unity thinks at that moment, right? So how to add the 3D object? Just right-click the empty area of the hierarchy. Okay, now I can select the capsule, but the capsule is not visible. So we need to move around. So just to practice move around, I want you to think this whole scene as a game, right? You're moving in a shooting game. Just think of it as like that, right? Now hold your right click and you can use your keyboard WASD keys to move around. W to move forward, S to move backwards, A and D to move sideways. And you can do that while holding your right click. And also you can look down. There you go. My capsule is all the way down. It's not on the world. It's somewhere submerged into the ground. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose this tool right here, this move tool right here. I'm going to put it on the floor, right? Sometimes you can just fly across somewhere and then you'll just get lost. Whoops. Oh my God, where am I? Right? So if that happens, don't worry, just go ahead and double click the capsule and you will be right next to the capsule. Okay, can you recap the last part? Yes, I'll try to do that. I don't want to rush the end of this, so I'm gonna spend a little bit of time here because you need to get familiar with the interface. But what I did was I right-clicked the hierarchy. You lost your capsule. Oh, that's okay. Just double-click on the capsule. If you can see the hierarchy, if you can see the capsule, just double-click on it, and it will take you, it will move you right next to that. Yeah. So if your capsule is nowhere near your terrain, what you can do is you can select the capsule, right? Select the capsule. And in your inspector window, there is a properties window over here, right? There's a big properties window over here. Change the position to 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. And when you do that, you will be able to see your capsule over here, right? Don't worry, sometimes the 3D perspective can be a little bit of a, mind bender. So don't worry about it. Select the capsule and change the position to 0, 0, 0. Is there a key to snap the object? There is, but I'm not going to explain that. It's a little bit, too much for this workshop. Okay, so what we're going to do right now is I'm going to move my capsule. So this is my ghost, right? This is going to be my ghost right now, right? Yeah, it's time to be my ghost right now. So what we're going to do is we are going to implement something called a nav mesh, a navigational mesh, so artificial intelligent agents can move around and follow you around, right? Artificial agents can move you and move towards you and follow you around. So that's what we're going to do. Right. Anybody who's using Unity 2021 or 2020 and not 2022? Who's using 2021? Or 2020. Okay, anyway, that's okay. There's going to be a little bit of differences, but don't worry about it. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to convert this into an AI agent. To do that, I'm going to do one quick, I'm going to install another package. Yeah, I'm going to install another package. So if you're using Unity 2022 only, you can do this. right? If you're using 2020 or 2021, you don't need to. I'm using 2022, so because of that, I have to do it, right? So I'm gonna go to Window. You can follow along with me. I'm gonna go to Window, and from here, I'm gonna choose this thing called Package Manager, right? Go to Window and select Package Manager. Stop everything else you're doing right now, right? If you're trying to follow along and if you try to do whatever I do, don't worry, right? Don't do that. Stop everything that you do right now, click Window and choose the Package Manager. Okay, now you will be able to see something that looks like this, right? This is called the Package Manager. The first thing that you need to do is select, there is a drop down at the top, right? Select this drop down and choose Unity Registry. Unity Registry is more like an internal registry that kind of lists down a bunch of packages. Make sure that you have Unity Registry selected, right? Just go ahead and click Unity Registry. There you go. Are we going to be programming? Yes, that's what we're going to be doing right now. Okay, now let's scroll all the way down until we find something called AI navigation. We're going to do like the expert stuff right from the beginning, right? Where can I find the registry? Make sure that you selected Unity Registry from the drop down over here. That's why I said, follow along with me, don't do anything else. Just follow along and you're going to be okay, right? Select Unity Registry from here and scroll down until you find AI navigation. All right. Now, over here, if you don't see AI navigation, that's okay, right? Don't worry. Right? You need to make sure that you're in Unity Registry. And now let's go ahead and click Install over here. Right? Let's click Install, and it's going to install something called AI navigation into your project. Ta-da! In another project, we have to install this again. Yes, good question. Usually, when Unity creates a project, it's more like PowerPoint, right? You open a new PowerPoint slide set, and it's blank. So anything that you put in, you have to like do the things again and again, just like that. Every new project, you have to do that. All right, good question. Okay, so now we have AI navigation installed. We have the ability to make this guy an AI agent. Okay, so now let us select this capsule. Let us select the capsule. Okay, now, just stop everything you're doing. Make sure that you have the capsule in your scene. It doesn't matter wherever it is, it's fine, right? Make sure that you have the capsule in your scene and in your inspector window. Scroll all the way down, right? Scroll all the way down. And you will be able to see a button called Add Component. Let me show you quickly. There is a button called Add Component. So Jace, yes, that's why I said, like, if you are following along, if you cannot do it right now, and if you're watching the video again, and if you have questions, feel free to jump into our Discord community, and I'm there. You can send me a message, or you can just put it in our channel called Tech Support. Always welcome to do that. Okay, so just go ahead and make sure that you select the Add Component button right here. And now we are going to search AI. Oops, sorry, my bad. Agent. Sorry, not AI, agent, A-G-E-N-T. Yes, there's now a window after the installation of AI. Close everything if there is another window. Okay, so what we did was we selected the capsule, and in the inspector window, we added a new component. We clicked this Add Component, and we search for agent, and we have this thing called Nav Mesh Agent, right? Nav Mesh Agent. Click it. Okay, so what we have done is we have converted this capsule into a navigational agent, right? So that means this guy is now an AI, right? The capsule is now an AI. Okay, so now this is the fun part, right? So we're going to be doing two things. First of all, we are going to make sure that this guy is going to follow us, right? We're going to make sure that this guy is going to follow us. And to do that, first of all, we have to put ourselves into the game, right? We have to put ourselves into the game. So putting ourselves means it's character. We have to have a character that gets controlled, using your input and everything. But today, I'm not going to show you how to like build something like that from scratch. That's actually a part of our bootcamp. So we're not going to do that. So I have already provided you an asset which does that, right? So we're going to do that. Just follow along with me. Make sure you have the Halloween asset put into the project, right? I'm going to just focus it over here, right? You can see right over here. I'm going to expand this, expand third-party assets, expand mini first-person controller, and select that folder. What don't you have? You don't have agent? That is because you did not install AI. You have to go to package manager and you have to install AI navigation. You should be able to see, make sure, just click add component and make sure you have, where do we have it? Yeah, just search, okay. It's inside navigation right here. It says it's installed, but I don't have that. That's strange. Okay, just go to window and make sure, can you see AI? If you go to window, do you see AI over here? Do you see AI? Who don't see AI? If you don't see AI, that means the package is not installed properly. Anyway, if you have errors, I'm just, it's fine. Maybe we can fix it up later because, we don't have that much of time. If you have AI, that's fine. If you don't have, I'm hoping you to follow the recording. If you have questions, please feel free to ask them later. Okay, let's continue. Anyway, you should be searching for nav mesh agent. Yes, you should be able to see something called nav mesh agent. Put a thumbs up if you can see it and if you are okay up to this level. All good? Awesome. All right, so now what we're going to do is we have opened up the folder, of the assets that we have installed. Halloween game, third-party assets, and here you can see a bunch of different folders. Make sure that you select mini first-person controller. And here you can see first-person controller, right? There should be something like this with a blue box, right? A blue box that says first-person controller. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to drag and drop this first-person controller into the scene, right? This is how you do that. Click it, drag and drop it here. Drag and drop, just like this. Select the first-person controller, drag and drop. This is another capsule, right? Don't worry about this capsule. The guy is right over here, right? Okay, so now there are a couple of things that we're going to be doing. Make sure you have selected this main camera, right? My first controller is pink and I'm missing an asset somewhere. It's fine. Even if your controller is pink, that's okay because you haven't chosen 3D URP. That's why. Maybe, maybe I can ask you, maybe I can show how to like fix that in the questions time. But as of right now, we can just leave it as it is. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to select the main camera, right? Make sure like you are in the hierarchy window. Right click the main camera and delete it. Gone. Hey, don't worry if you're behind. You're going to get this video. You're going to follow along the recording. Even if you like, I don't think anybody else supports that, but we have a support community. You can always jump into the community. You can share your game with us, and at the same time, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Okay, so what we did was we deleted the main camera because we already have a camera in our first-person controller, right? Because of that, we delete the main camera. Delete it. Gone. Now, all right, now what we're going to do is we are going to select our first-person controller, right? We're going to select our first-person controller, and we're going to change the tag of this over here, right? We're going to change this to the player. Why we do that? Because our ghost needs to find the player, right? Our ghost needs to find the player, right? Even though it is an AI agent, it's a pretty dumb agent, right? So we need to tag the player as the player. Otherwise, the AI can do that in different ways, but this is like a very straightforward way, right? So the tags exist so the AI can identify it. In a way, yes, right? In a way, we are going to use tags to filter out things. I'll show you what we do when we actually collect the pumpkins, right? Okay, so our first-person controller now has the player. So what we're going to do right now is, I didn't drag and drop anything. We selected the first-person controller and changed the tag of this to player. Okay, now what we're going to do is we are going to select the capsule again. This capsule, this guy is our ghost, right? This guy is our ghost. And what we're going to do is we are going to add another component, right? We're going to add another component into our capsule. Now, this component is actually a script that we are going to customize, right? We're going to write a little bit of code. I will just copy and paste you the code here, and then I will explain what we're going to be doing, right? Because I don't think you guys will be able to quickly write this down. So I'm going to copy and paste the code in the chat, and then you can copy and paste it into your code, right? Okay, first of all, go to the scripts folder. Go to the scripts folder. In your assets, I have given you, you can see a folder called scripts folder, right? So if you are developing your games, when you're developing your games, this is how you actually add logic, right? You have to do a little bit of code to add logic, right? You can see we have 3 scripts. We have something called the game manager. We have something called the ghost. And also we have something called player logic. What did you add to the ghost? I didn't add anything to the ghost. I added the navmesh agent. What I'm going to do right now is add that, right? That is what we're going to do right now, right? Okay, so you can see this ghost. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag the ghost script onto the inspector window like this. Oops. Right? I'm going to drag the ghost script into this. So now you can see here we have, right, this is our capsule. We have navmesh agent that we added before. And then we have ghost script. It says script. This is known as a component, right? So we've added that script into this. Now is the time where we're going to be doing a little bit of code. So what we're going to do is we're going to double click and open the ghost script. Right? I will give you a script, right? I will just copy and paste it over here. Otherwise, you'd not be, you might not be able to do that. Let me just see if I can give you a proper link to copy the code. All right, just give me a second. Let me see if we have that. Okay, what was the last step? I just double click the ghost script and open it up. So it was open in Visual Studio. Or like if you do not have Visual Studio, sometimes you can open this up in any text editor. but this is what you should be seeing right now. You can double click and open Ghost script, right? So this is what I did. I just double clicked the Ghost script and it opened up this one right here. All right. Okay, now, yeah, I see start and update function. Yeah, you know what a function is, right? That's good. So what we are going to do is we're going to copy some code. I'm going to share this link with you. Right? Don't worry about any errors here. I'm just going to paste a link, right? I'm just going to paste a link right here. You will be able to see a whole page of a code, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy that whole code and paste here, right? Just delete everything in this code and paste like this, right? I will explain how to, do we need Visual Studio? It is better if you have it, but you can just double click it and let it open through any tool. It can even be Notepad, that's fine. Yeah, you have to go here, you can see Halloween game, scripts, right? Halloween game, scripts folder, and double click the Ghost, right? You can see 3 files here. Double click Ghost, and then it will open up this folder, this window right here. It doesn't need to look like this. It can even be Notepad, right? It will open, like if you don't have Visual Studio, sometimes it will open in Notepad or something, right? Okay, so there you go. Now, let me quickly explain what we have here, right? Let me quickly explain what we have here. So here we have something called following distance, right? So this is C#. This is C# scripting. If you're taking our bootcamp, we are actually giving you the fundamentals of how to write everything from scratch. But what we have here is a component that we created for the functionality, yeah, for the functionality of the Ghost. The whole idea of the Ghost is that Ghost needs to know who the player is, and Ghost needs to follow wherever the player is, right? Okay, now this is what we have here. What we're going to do is we're going to check if the player is closer, right? If the player is closer to the Ghost, and if that's so, then the Ghost would follow the player, right? Now you can see here we have something called start, right? Let me share this link again so you can copy and paste the script. You can copy and paste the script. I know for some, for some of you, it might be a little bit hard for you to follow along. This can be a little bit too much, but don't worry about it. Even if you can, even if you have issues, as I said before, jump into our Discord. Okay, would you be able? Yes, of course. As a matter of fact, this is the whole, like the link that I shared is actually the link to the whole project. So you can even download it and test it by yourself. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, what we have here is, okay, now you can see we have something called find the game object with tag, right? It's very, very English. Start. When we start the game, the Ghost will find the object with the tag called player. This is why we checked. This is why we chose player tag to the first person controller, right? Find game object with the tag, right? Find game object with the tag. And we have actually, we have something called transform. So what we have done is we have, like the Ghost has now identified the player, right? And then, don't worry about this too. What we have here is now we are checking the distance, right? So this update is a function which actually runs every time, right? It's more like, it's more like the Ghost is thinking here. The component is now thinking every time. If we have a little bit of conditions, right? we have a little bit of conditions here. And that condition is if the distance of the player's position, and so in this case, transform is the ghost, right? We say transform, that means here the transform is the position, is the whole transform of the ghost. So what we do is we check the distance between the player and the ghost, right? If that distance is less than, we have something called follow distance. So what is follow distance? 20. If, that means, if the distance between the ghost and me is less than 20 meters, then the agent or the ghost is now setting the destination to wherever I am. That means the ghost can now follow me. Does that make sense? You don't need to understand the whole code, but does that flow make sense? Okay. All right. So for some of you, if you're using Unity and Visual Studio Code or Visual Studio for the very first time, you might get some challenges and you might not be able to follow along. As I said before, don't worry, you can watch the recording, and even if you get all these questions, please be in our community and we are happy to help you out. Okay, so now that is done. What we're going to do right now is we're going to test this out, right? We're going to test this out. Now what? Your code is open in Notepad. Make sure you save the code, right? Go to File and Save All. File, Save All. Even if you have it open in Notepad, go to File and Save. File and Save, File and Save. All right. Now let's go back to Unity, and Unity will take a little bit of time to do the adjustments, to adjust to changes that we did. It is connected. Everything is connected. Unity is now doing the adjustment. Unity is updating the code. There you go. Now you can see, if you select the Go script, you can see the whole thing that we put here. Right? All right. So if you get any errors, make sure you have properly copied and pasted the code. Right. So if you haven't done that, then obviously it's going to give you some red color stuff at the bottom of this. Okay. So now, if you select the capsule, this is our nav mesh. You can see we have the follow distance here. If you want to change the value, you can change it as well. Now, there is one other thing that we need to do, right? We are going to test this once, and we are going to move on to our next component. And our next component is going to be us selecting the pumpkins, right? Like collecting the pumpkins, right? Okay, but first of all, let's test this out. So what we're going to do is we are going to, now we have the whole world, right? We have a whole world, we have a player, and then we have a ghost, right? What we're going to do is we are going to let the ghost know, hey, ghost, you are an AI agent, but these are the areas that you can actually move around, right? We're going to tell that to all the ghosts that are in the scene. Right? We're going to tell that to all the ghosts that are in the scene. So what we're going to do is we are going to do something called baking. Right? We're not going to be baking any bread or buns or anything. We are going to bake. We're going to let the AI agent knows that these are the areas that we are going to be, that the AI agent is going to be moving around, right? So we call this concept baking. It's a pretty cool concept, right? And to do that, I'm going to go to a window called AI navigation. Because there are some people who are using older versions of Unity, I'm not going to be choosing the, maybe I can, what do I do? I tested this with 2022, but let me just choose the older version and see if that works. If that didn't work, don't blame me. Let's do the new way, right? Okay, so I want you to do this. Go to window. Yeah, Unity keeps changing stuff, right? The whole thing is that Unity keeps changing stuff, and we have to adjust ourselves. So we are learning every day. Anyway, so go to window menu and go to AI. Oh, it's obsolete. It says it's obsolete. Probably it might not work. Anyway, I'm gonna go to navigation right here, right? If you're using the 2022 version, you can see two options here. But if you're using an older version, you will see navigation only. Thumbs up who has only one navigation? Who has only one navigation here? All right, there's 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. All right, a lot of people here. All right. All right, you have both. That's fine. Okay, so just to make sure, I'm just going to be choosing obsolete. Right, go to AI and choose navigation obsolete. Right, and here, as you can see, we have something called, we have this window, right? It will look like this. This is called navigation mesh. Right? Do you see this? Anybody who doesn't see this window? Window AI navigation. So if you can see both, go ahead and choose the obsolete one. Right? And as you can see here, the obsolete one says it will be deprecated. Who cares? Okay, so once you open this window, you will be able to see 4 tabs: agents, areas, bake, object. Agents, areas, bake, object. So what we're going to do is the first thing we're going to select our terrain. Right? This is our terrain. Select the terrain. Right? Make sure you have the terrain selected. Right? And check whether it says navigation static and generate off mesh links, things like that. Right? Make sure that your navigation area is set to walkable. All right? Can everybody see this? Can everybody see the object? And when you select the terrain, can everybody see this window right here? Amazing. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go to bake. We're going to bake the thing. All right. We're going to bake it. Go to bake and go ahead and click the bake button that you can see at the bottom. Right? Go to bake and click the bake window, which will take a little bit of time. You can see at the bottom, right? And there you go. You can see the whole thing becomes blue. I have the obsolete option, but it doesn't open. No, it opens. Just click AI and select obsolete, and probably it's gonna be it's over here somewhere. Window, AI, navigation, obsolete, and it's probably over here somewhere. Yeah, there you go. Okay. All right. When you bake, do you see this blue color area? Do you see it? If you do not see it, make sure you have this, there is a button which looks like a small sphere at the top. Click it, right? You can toggle everything, right? What do I bake again? Let me just do it again. First of all, open the navigation window. Go to object. Select your terrain. Just click your terrain and see, make sure. You don't have to do anything. You have to make sure. I accidentally did it to your capsule, or if you did it to your capsule, select the capsule again and make sure that you don't have anything here. Just select the capsule and disable this. Right? Don't put it onto the capsule. If you do that, the agent will work on itself. Don't do that. All right. Okay, so good question. What does baking do exactly? So baking is kind of like predefining set of areas that AI agents can move around. It's pretty cool because don't follow along with me. Do not follow along with me. Look at the screen. I'm going to explain this, right? Look at the screen. Okay, I'm just going to put a cube over here, right? Just to show you what this thing actually does. All right, I'm going to put a cube over here. And as you can see here, this guy right here is not navigation static. It's not a walkable area. So we don't want the agent to go through the cube, right? We want the agent to go around the cube if they want to go somewhere, right? So now if you go to bake and do a bake again, right? If you want to do the bake again, you will see, oops, my bad. I didn't do it properly. Let me just make it not workable. Let me do the bake again. All right. So as you can see here, you can see this area is not blue, right? So if I move this around, you can see here, obviously there is a small blue thing in the middle, but but it cannot move from here to into like that island, right? So the ghost will walk around this, right? Anyway, so how to make the terrain blue? You are not making the terrain blue. What we did here is we baked this. This is the bake thing, right? It is not visible in the game. If you go to the game, you will not see this. It's just we call it a gizmo. It's just a gizmo, right? Yeah, how to bake the terrain? You just have to open that window, click the bake tab, and make sure you click the bake button over here. That's it. Just do it. You don't have to just click it and you will see the blue thing. Even if you don't see the blue thing, that's fine. That is because you don't see that. You don't see the gizmo, see? Right here, you can toggle it. I hope you can see this. It's at the top right corner. Okay, all right, so we somehow was able to finish the first half of this, right? Now, this is halfway through. We're halfway through. Now the ghost can follow us. So let's test it, right? Let us test it. So I just moved my game window. You don't want to do this. If you want to test this, you can do that. But this is what we're going to do right now, right? This is me, right? You can see me. And this is the ghost. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click play. Are we baking the cube? No, we don't want to add the cube. Nope, we don't want to add the cube. I added the cube just to show you what baking does. That's it. Okay, so now what I did was I just click the play button. All right, there you go. The ghost is now following me, right? I'm just moving around. You can see the ghost following me. Woo! All right, did you guys see this? I think I can even jump. Okay. Can we bake the cube? All right, you can bake the cube. Yes, you can. Of course you can. Okay, let's do something funny. Let's do something funny here. Of course, we added the capsule, but that capsule is not actually a ghost, right? That capsule is not a ghost. We want an actual ghost here. So what I'm going to do is you can follow along with me. I actually gave you a cute little ghost. So go to prefabs. You will be able to see something called prefabs over here. Where is the play button again? It's right over here at the top middle. So, one quick thing. If you click the play button, make sure that you click it again because we don't want, this is called the play mode. You're playing this. If you do any changes in your play mode, that's not going to save all of the work that you do, right? So click this play button again, and now we are in the edit mode. The ghost is not following us anymore. Anyway, you will be able to see something called prefabs, right? And you'll be able to see these 4 blue color objects here. I'm not sure why it's not showing anything here, but we have a ghost, right? I'm just going to drag and drop this ghost into the scene. It's a small ghost. Maybe I can scale it up a little bit. How did I scale? I use this scale button right here. There's a scale tool. You can choose the scale tool and click and drag it up. Right, so what I did was I went to the folder called prefabs. And over here, I drag and drop the ghost into this, right? You can add so much of ghosts if you want. Oops. My apologies. Drag and drop. You can drag and drop ghosts. But I'm just going to make sure I have only one ghost in my scene. Right? So now what you can do is, just select the ghost over here. Right? Select the ghost that we added. And in the inspector window, we have to do only two things, right? Did you drag the prefab to the capsule? No, I just dragged it onto the terrain. This is what I did. Let me just delete the capsule. We're not going to be using the capsule anymore. Instead, we have a ghost here, right? So this is what I did. I have the ghost. I dragged and dropped the ghost into this. There you go. Why the ghost has directly the script? If you can't see it, that's okay, because you already have that, right? How do you scale it, keep its proportions? You can scale it by using the scale tool. There is a scale tool right over here. Yeah, this one right here, and then you can click and drag, so it just scales up. Right? How do you delete the capsule? Pretty simple. You select the capsule and press the delete key. Okay, now if you remember, we added two components here. The first one is the agent, the navmesh agent, and the second one is the ghost script, right? The ghost script. So we added two things, the navmesh agent and the ghost script, and that's it, right? So if you click play, now you will be able to see the actual ghost following you around. Whoa, whoa, there you go. All right, now let's quickly do the second portion of this where we actually pick pumpkins. All right, where we pick pumpkins. Okay, so in order to pick pumpkins, our player should be able to collide with pumpkins. Do we delete the capsule since we are using the ghost? Yes, you can delete the capsule. We don't need the capsule anymore. Okay, so what we're going to do is, because we need to select the pumpkin in games, what we do is we use something called collision. If you deleted something, you can press Ctrl Z to undo it. Ctrl Z, and then it will come back. Right? Just press Ctrl Z to undo it. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to, as I said before, we're going to use something called collisions, right? And we are going to use that collision to check whether we collided with the pumpkin or we collided with a ghost, right? Collided with the pumpkin or with the ghost. So to do that, we're going to write another script and we're going to attach that to our player, because it is the player that needs to know, oh, I selected a pumpkin. Oh, sorry, I collected a pumpkin. Oh, I got, I got captured by the ghost. Right? So it's the player who's going to be informing that. So for that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a script to the player. So this script also I'm going to share with you, right? I don't want, I think we have spent enough time. So I don't want to write everything from scratch. So I'm going to post the link right here. Right, this one right here. Let's open it up and copy and paste it into our other script, which is called player logic. Player logic, right? Double click and open it up. And I'm going to copy and paste it right here. But you'll see something that looks like this, but I'm going to delete everything in player logic C# script. And I'm going to paste the whole script right here. All right. Sure. Okay, so I'm going to quickly explain what we have here. I'm not going to write everything from scratch, just quickly explain what we have here. So this is the player, right? It's the player who's doing a little bit of, who's checking, right? We have something here called on trigger enter. On trigger enter, that means when another object collides with the player, right? If you actually collide with a pumpkin, here it checks, hey, did I collided with a pumpkin? If that is the case, then I'm going to destroy the pumpkin. Destroy in the sense, if I collect something, that means that collected object should be gone from existence, right? So we have to destroy that, right? Like in games, 100% of, like 90% of the time, we just mimic stuff. We just make illusions. That's what we do, right? What script do I open for the player script? It's called player logic, right? The player logic is right here, right next to the ghost script that I gave you. Okay, so we're checking whether we actually collected a pumpkin. And then we have something called game manager.instance.collect pumpkin, right? So this is where we actually, this is where we actually check the logic, whether we actually collected a pumpkin, whether we win the game or we lose the game, right? Okay. So, all right. My ghost is in the ground too, as someone else mentioned. Ghost should be in the ground. Anyway, okay. Now you can also see another condition, right? So we have another condition right here, and it says, if I collided with the ghost, right? If I collided with the ghost, then it's going to be game over. Does this make sense? I recommend you to look at the screen, instead of moving things. Otherwise, you'd get fallen behind, right? So what we did here was we added a script. We added a logic called player logic, and in that player logic, what we do is we check whether we collided with the pumpkin or whether we collided with the ghost. If we collided with the pumpkin, then we collect the pumpkin. But if we collide with the ghost, that means it's going to be game over, right? It's going to be game over. Okay, so now player logic is done. So make sure you save your script. Go to File and click Save All. Right, save your script, and let's go back to Unity. Remember, we have two new tags. One tag is called the pumpkin, and the other one is ghost. Pumpkin and ghost. Pumpkin and ghost, pumpkin and ghost, right? So we need to make sure that we have proper tags added to proper objects, right? Okay, so let's go back to Unity. Let's wait until it does its thing, linking thing. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to select our first-person controller, right? We're going to select our first-person controller, and we are going to add that script, right? So as you can see here, we have a bunch of different scripts. We have something called first-person movement, jump, we have crouch if we want to, right? So alongside that, I'm going to drag and drop this player logic script component onto the player. Now, the player has the ability to check whether the ghost is actually a ghost or the pumpkin is actually a pumpkin, right? If that works, then the logic works, right? So that is how we actually make games. We create components that, that messages in between other. It checks, hey, did the other object, has some property? Is that a pumpkin, right? So that is how we identify whether the pumpkin is a pumpkin or the ghost is a ghost. Okay, so anyway, we have pumpkins, we have ghosts, we have a ghost, right? Did you re-add the agent nav mesh and ghost script to your ghost? Yes, that is how the ghost followed me, right? If you select the ghost, you can see that the ghost has the nav mesh agent and the ghost script. Okay, right. And what we did was we selected the first-person controller, and on top of the other components that are over there, I added another component, which is the player logic, the very script that we added before, right? Okay. Now, what we need to do is we need to add pumpkins and we need to add the ghost, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to go to this thing right here. You can see a drop down called layers. Okay, stop everything you're doing. Don't scale the ghost and don't do anything else. Stop everything you're doing. Let's stop everything. Now, at top right corner, you will be able to see a drop down called layers. Let's click it. Click the layers. And here, go to edit layers. Right? I'm going to do it again. Click the drop down at the top right corner called layers and click edit layers. And as you can see here, we have 3 different things, right? We have a small thing, a small triangle called tags. And this is where we are going to add 2 different tags. Right? We are going to make sure that we have these tags. Okay, so when you expand this, do you see the tag pumpkin and the tag ghost? Do you see this too? Do you see it? Nice. All right. So just like that, if you have, let's say, something else, maybe a tree or an enemy or something, you can always go to, click this plus button and you can add a new tag, right? So this way we can tag different objects. And that is an easier way of understanding whether the game object is a pumpkin or whether it's a tag, whether it's a ghost, whether it's a tree or whatever it is, right? Okay, so that's why I said, stop everything and you can follow along, right? Click the layers over here. You will be able to see a drop down called layers. Click it. And then over here, you'll be able to see edit layers, right? And here, you don't need to do anything. You just have to make sure that you have pumpkin and ghost. Nice. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go to prefabs. Right. So we are going to quickly finish this off. We have some components. So we're going to add this. So you have to follow along with me. And here we're going to go to prefabs and you can see we have a pumpkin. Right. Do you see a pumpkin? Do you see the pumpkin? Okay, so now we are going to drag and drop that pumpkin into the scene. There you go. We have a pumpkin. We have a nice looking pumpkin. Right. Okay, now what we need to do is we need to select the pumpkin and we need to make sure we have the tag pumpkin added to the pumpkin as it is, right? So there you go. If you select the ghost, you can see that the ghost has the tag ghost and the pumpkin has the tag pumpkin, right? Okay, so 75% of the work is now done in terms of the logic. Now what we need to do is we need to have like a game manager, right? So in a game, we have different components. We have enemies, we have the player, we have objects that gets destroyed, we have levels, we have missions, and we have a bunch of things. But in order to manage the flow of a game, usually game developers use something called a game manager, right? This depends. So you can define how this game manager works, right? You're completely free to use your own way of integrating the game manager. My terrain is blue. That's fine because mine is blue as well. I just turned off all the distractions. That's fine. Right. So as I was saying, we have something called game manager, right? So usually we write a game manager to manage the flow of the game. We check whether it's game over. We check it if you win the game. We check the score of the game, right? So we're going to do 2 things. We're going to add a game manager. And we're going to add a small we're going to add a small score user interface into our game. Right, so that way what this whole thing is about. Okay, the state of the game, whether you win or not, right? Okay, so to do that, I'm going to select the terrain. I think it's fine. This is fine to be put anywhere. I'm going to select the terrain. You can put anywhere. You can put this into instead of the pumpkin, of course. You can put this to an empty game object if you want. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to scripts and drag and drop the game manager into the terrain. Right? I dragged and dropped the game manager into the terrain. All good? Awesome. right? So let me do it again. Select the terrain. You can see the script game manager, drag and drop it. Right? Were there any changes made? No, we did not do anything. Okay, so pencils down. Pencils down. Your whole focus is on screen right now. I'm showing you what this game manager does, right? I'll quickly explain what this thing does, and then we'll move on to like adding the other components, right? So here, the game manager, in start, the game manager checks all the pumpkins in the scene. Let's say we have 10 pumpkins in the scene, and the game manager also has something called total pumpkins. So game manager kind of keeps it in memory. All right, so we have 10 pumpkins in the scene. And then the game manager also has something called collected pumpkins. Collected pumpkins is another number, but at start, when you start the game, it's 0, right? Obviously it's 0, right? We haven't collected any pumpkins yet. And then we have something called score text. Score text is the user interface where we actually show the score, right? And here it shows collected pumpkins divided by or / total pumpkins. So it shows you have 10 pumpkins and you have so far collected 2 pumpkins, right? Like that. And then this is where we have this, right? We have something called collect pumpkin. And here what we do is when you collect a pumpkin, it adds that, right? So like, for example, in the beginning, we have 0 pumpkins and we collect a pumpkin. And now the collect pumpkins is going to go to 1, right? This plus means we are incrementing the value by 1. And over here, we check if collected pumpkins is equal to total pumpkins. Math follows you with game dev, right? If you have collected all the pumpkins, that means you win, right? If the ghost has captured you, we have something called game over. This game over we call from player logic, right? Player logic, you can see the player says, hey, game manager, game over because ghost took me, right? Okay, that's pretty simple. You have access to this already. You can, if you want to just read the whole thing, it's very Englishy, very Englishy. So you can kind of make sense of what's happening right here. It's not a lot of math. It's just, you're just incrementing. That's it. Okay, let's go back to Unity. Now, because, now that we have the game manager, we need to add the user interface element. And as of right now, I have done that for you as well, because these things takes time, right? So what you can do is go to prefabs, and drag and drop the canvas into this sample scene. There is a prefab called canvas, and make sure that you drag and drop canvas into the scene. When you do that, you will be asked to, this thing will pop up, right? This is called Text Mesh Pro. This is some sort of a plugin that Unity is using to show you text. So go ahead and click Import TMP Essentials. And it's going to show you a small user interface over here. All right, I'm not sure whether it's there. It's not here for some reason. Why is it not here? Oops. Sorry about it. There you go. Okay, can you recap this, please? Yes. Make sure you're in your scene. I don't know where I went. I think I just flew over. All right, there you go. You can go to prefabs folder over here. Go to prefabs. And drag and drop the canvas into the hierarchy. Oops. And if you're doing this for the first time, you will see a quick message asking you to import something called TMP Essentials. Click that. Oh, are you in play mode? Yes, you have to stop playing. That's why I said, if you're in play mode, you have to stop it. Any update that you have done so far, any cube or pumpkin that you added will be gone because you were in play mode. That's fine. I don't think we did a lot of stuff. We just added the game manager, we added a couple of pumpkins. Make sure you're not playing, right? And the ghost is not following you. Make sure you do that. Okay. Now we added the canvas. Yes, you don't need to import the examples. You just need to import only the first one. We don't need the second one. That's just the first part. Yeah, I cannot show you again because I already done that. I already did that. Okay, so now you should be able to see the canvas. And there's only one thing that we do, and our game is almost complete. It's playable, right? So what we have here is the game manager. You have to select the terrain, and you can see we have the game manager, right, in the terrain. This is our game manager. And you can see we have something called score text, right? And also in your canvas, right, this is the canvas. And you can see the score object right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drag the score onto this game manager's score text. This is how game manager recognizes your UI component. Did you do it? Were you able to do that? It's a little bit tricky. This is how Unity, this is how Unity move things around. Okay, let me do it again. Did you add the canvas into the scene? Did you add the canvas? Can you see the canvas over here? Nice. Okay, now select the terrain. You can see the game manager right here, the game manager component in the inspector window. And also, if you expand the canvas, right, inside the canvas, there are 3 more objects: score, game over, and game win, right? If you click it, this will be gone, right? Make sure you select the terrain again. Go ahead and select the terrain again. And now you can drag this score onto this right here, right? So now the game manager is now aware of the score object right here. Okay. So far, the base logic of the game is now done, right? In order to test this, right, you can see what I'm doing, right? You can see what I'm doing. You don't need to follow along with me right now. I'll just do a quick couple of things. Okay, so I'm gonna add more pumpkins into my scene because I need to collect all the pumpkins. Right, I'm gonna add like more pumpkins into my scene. And I'm going to move the ghost a little bit away because I don't want the ghost to follow me like right in the beginning. A little bit away. Now let me show you how this works. Okay, this is our game. I'm gonna click play. You can duplicate the pumpkin, or you can just drag new pumpkins from the prefabs to the scene. Okay, so as you can see here, ghost is not following me because I'm not that very close to the ghost. And you can see we have 6 pumpkins in the right over here. You can see we have 6 pumpkins and we have to collect them. So I'm moving towards the pumpkin. Oop. You can see I selected 1 pumpkin and there's the other one. I'm going to select this pumpkin too. And I'm going to, oh, there you go. The ghost is now following me. So I have to run and grab the other pumpkins. So if I collect all the pumpkins, 3, 4, all right, 5, 6, over here you can see you win. And if the ghost catch me, you can see here it says game over, game over, game over because the ghost caught you. Right, obviously, this is not a polished game, right? In order to make this a polished game, we have to add a lot of animations. We have to add, sound effects and things like that. I already have a small scene made for you, right? So you don't need to follow along anything. I'll just quickly show you what we do here. If you go to scenes, you will be able to see something called game world only. Right? Let me just quickly open it up. We don't have anything else. We have a world, a game world, right? You can see here we have, okay, for some reason the terrain is not properly visible. But anyway, you can see we have a world with some we have a world with some dark lights, with some trees. Let me see if I can drag this game world into the scene again. Okay, there we go. So here what we can do is we can drag and drop the pumpkins, right? We can add the ghost, right? And as you can see here, we have the ghost, we have the pumpkin, and we can even drag and drop our oh, it didn't display you win. You have to collect all the pumpkins, and you should be able to see it in the console. So yeah, so that is pretty much it. You can download the whole project if you go to this link right here. Let me share this link with you again. You can download the project. Yeah, there you go. Go to this link and you can download the whole project, open it up in Unity, and you will be able to play a good playable version. It took a little bit more time than I realized. I could have added some sound effects. I've already added some good sound effects for you. Let me just quickly play one. I'm not sure whether you can hear this, but yeah, I was going to add this sound effect to the ghost. All right, so anyway, that is pretty much it. Thank you so much for joining. I'm gonna give the stage back to Tyler, and hope to see you in our Discord community if you have any questions while watching this recording.
I'm muted. Sorry. Thank you so much, Indi. It looks like everybody in the chat here is saying thank you as well. I am going to share the presentation here again. Just give me 1 second here, folks. Oh, it won't let me bring it up. You know what, Indi, I'm just going to close you here. There we go. There we go. And so I am going to invite Indi back up on stage here in just a minute to do some Q&A with everyone. But first, I'm just going to share a little bit more information. Thank you for the comment on the plant. Thank you, Lori. I'm going to go over a little bit of information about the bootcamp, the Game Development Bootcamp that we offer through CircuitStream. So the Game Development Bootcamp is designed for people who are looking to get into the gaming industry as a developer, those looking to start their own companies, or those looking to bring Unity development to their current roles. This course is completely beginner friendly, but it does tackle advanced concepts as you progress, which I'm sure you got a little bit of a taste of that today. So if you have a little bit of coding experience already, or if you've taken like our XR development course or 10-week course, for example, the first couple of weeks of the bootcamp would act as a bit of a refresher for you, but there'd still be a ton of new information and knowledge for the bulk of the course that you would learn. The great thing about the bootcamp is project-based. So you learn concepts in class and apply them to real-life projects. You get to create the ideas on your own in the final assignment as well. You can work with a team, or you can work on your own when you're doing this, and you'd be utilizing these skills that you learn throughout the course. I have a nice gameplay ready for you to show with all the sounds. Perfect. So when you come back up, Indi, we can take a quick look at that too, hopefully. Students would complete this course, the Game Development Bootcamp, with the Unity Developer Certification, as well as a Unity Associate Programmer Certification. So just an additional level of certification through Unity that comes with this bootcamp. Besides learning all the skills to become a game developer, this bootcamp comes with ample career support and guidance as well. In the CircuitStream Career Labs, students learn to leverage technical and behavioral strengths, gain awareness of the Unity digital ecosystem, create compelling portfolios, elevate digital presence, learn how to network effectively, and become interview ready for industry jobs. So the career networking support is something that really does set this aside from other courses or similar style courses that you might find. For us, we look, every student comes in with different objectives. Some are looking to, basically start a whole new career or start a new job, and others are looking to kind of improve on their current position. So they find this aspect of the course incredibly helpful. Thank you, Jared. Jared said he's leaving here. He's got to go. So thank you so much for joining us, Jared. Now let's go over a couple items on the bootcamp itself. I'll start with the pricing just to share information in case anybody is interested in joining us and taking the Game Development Bootcamp. So it runs for 30 weeks with a total of 300 hours of learning. The total cost for the course is just under $15,000. It's $14,995. But we do have early bird pricing on right now. I believe it's available until October 31st. And that would be about $2,000 in savings if you apply for the course over the next few weeks. So just in case anybody was looking, this is just kind of what we have on the go right now. We do also offer different financing options depending on what region you are from. We do run the course every 5 to 6 months or so. The upcoming cohorts here would be February 13th through September 5th, and this would be in 2024. And then the one right after that would be May 21st through December 14th, also in 2024 there. So lots of people asking for David's LinkedIn. David joins a lot of our live sessions. We love David here. So yeah, please find David on LinkedIn as well. He's probably going to share his LinkedIn on the chat there. And I also noticed a few people joined and followed me during the event as well. Please feel free to reach out to anybody at CircuitStream, but you're certainly welcome to look me up on LinkedIn under Tyler Trapp. We are going to share some links in the chat right now. One of the staff at CircuitStream is going to go ahead and share some links here for us. But if anybody's looking to enroll in the courses, we just wanted to make sure that you knew how to do it. David shared his LinkedIn in the chat there. But we should be also sharing some of the registration links shortly. So just keep your eyes on the chat log there. And if you are looking to register for the courses, you can just basically follow those links and you can go that way. If you have any questions about us or about our partnerships or about our courses or about anything about the event today, about anything at all, you can reach out to us. General admissions contact information is on the screen here, the 1-800 number, and then of course the email address as well. David on our team is sharing. David, yes, I did share the Discord link earlier. Let me see if I still have it. I'm going to share that again. And then David on our team is also just sharing some of the registration links for the courses there. So all of that stuff's in the chat. If anybody wants to follow any of that or has any questions, that's kind of the best way to reach out to us. And that's it. That's it for the actual formal part of the presentation. So I will invite Indi to come back up on stage here, and we can take a look through the Q&A tab. I think we've got quite a few questions from previously that we can see, but I think a lot of them might be specific to the actual presentation. So before we do that, Indi, do you want to show the gameplay?
Oh, yeah. I have. So this is actually the game. This is actually the project that I shared with you, with the link that I shared. Let me just see if I can share this with you again. Oh, there you go. All right, let's play, and hopefully let's see if this works with all the sounds.
And while this is on too, I'm just going to quickly mention I did drop one more poll into the tab there as well for everyone.
All right, so far I added a small torch, and this is the whole environment. It's pretty much the same thing. We have an animation added here. And you can see all the pumpkins. We have 5 pumpkins to collect. Over here, I can see like 4 pumpkins. Let me just quickly go ahead and collect them. I wish the goats would not catch me. Let's do a little bit of ghost hunting and see if the ghost is around. Where's the ghost? All right, I can see a pumpkin right here. Okay, that goes through all the tricks. Oh my god! Oh, there's another one right here. Let me see if I can find the other pumpkin. I think I saw it somewhere. Oh my god! I don't see the other pumpkin.
Yeah, there's a few folks mentioning the stream's laggy. It'll be for something like this while we're streaming the live game right now, but it shouldn't be on your end while you're doing it.
Oh, there you go. There's the pumpkin. Yay. All right, anyway, the ghost would come to us. Oh, no. I want, so the ghost stopped. All right, no worries. We can share you the video of this as well. As a matter of fact, you can play the game with the project files that we have given.
Absolutely. Well, let's dive into the questions. I feel like there's going to be a bunch here, Indy, that are specific to the dev portion. So I'll just go right down to the bottom of the list and see. First question was about the recording. Yes, the session is recorded. The length of the session, specific version of Unity. I know you went over that before. You had mentioned you were using the more recent, but then some of the folks were using 2020 and 2021. So I think we kind of addressed that. But if anybody has any questions about versions of Unity, just reach back out and let us know here.
So if you're starting a new project, I recommend using the LTS version. LTS stands for long-term support. And usually Unity comes up with an LTS version every year. Right now it's 2023, but the latest LTS version is 2022. They've been lagging a little bit behind, but I would not recommend switching like the same project in between different versions. So if you start your project with one version, stick to that version until you end the project, and it's going to be all good.
Perfect. All right, let's see here. Do I need to install Unity on the PC? That was very early on. Yes, and I know Indy had said if you didn't have it, maybe just sit back and kind of enjoy the presentation and then try and do some of this afterwards using the recording there. Let's see, how familiar is CircuitStream with UCI's game design and interactive media major? And would you say that is a solid major to study instead of computer science? I don't want to speak on behalf of any of the courses at UCI other than the ones obviously that we partner with and that we offer. We currently don't offer game design through UCI, although we are partnered. UCI is an amazing institution, so I'm sure their courses are fantastic for that as well. We do offer a separate game design bootcamp directly through CircuitStream as well. So if you were looking at taking education through us for that, it's not offered through some of the university partners, but we do have that education available directly through CircuitStream right now too. So. But yeah, UCI is a great school. There's a reason they're one of our partners for sure. So let me see. Where can I find Discord? We shared the link there in the chat. If anybody's missing the Discord link, we can share it. You know what? I'm just going to throw it in the chat one more time, just in case. But there we go. It's been added to the chat one more time, just in case anybody missed it. I know we had a little bit of a surge of folks joining during the event, which was fantastic.
Yeah. We even got like a warning from Discord. Hey, there's a lot of joins to our Discord.
And then early on, we had a question about how to open the file. I know that you've definitely addressed that, and we kind of went through that. You provide closed captionings for the live recordings. We don't have closed captionings on this.
But I guess because one thing that you can do is you can upload it to YouTube, and YouTube will provide you automated captions.
Well, I share this video on our YouTube channel, and I'm not quite sure if we have the option selected to show closed captioning or not. But when I'm doing this one in particular, I can take a look and make sure that we have closed captioning included for you there. That should be pretty easy, actually. If a university has a game design major, I feel like this is very similar. Yeah, this is the same person from before. If a university has a game design major, is that a solid major to study rather than computer science? Again, I don't want to speak too much on that. I can only really kind of speak about the courses that we offer, but we do offer programming in game development and in game design. And you'd be able to do kind of either of those through us here. But yeah, otherwise, I don't really want to speak too much on other courses that we don't offer. Would it be possible to send a list of beginner resources along with all the links from this season and all the links to download from the session, sorry. And yeah, so, we should be able to. I'd sent out an email before the event with a link with the download pack, with a little bit of a guide, a YouTube video guide on how to download Unity and kind of how to navigate that. So you should have that information, but if you are missing anything there, if you need any additional resources, maybe just connect with us directly on the team here. Just reach out and let us know. We can make sure that we provide anything that you might be missing, but like the download asset link from today, for example. So may I get the contact information to ask for the recording in case I fail to receive the recording? Yeah, of course. I put the contact information up previously on how to reach out to us here. If you just reach out to admissions@circuitstream.com, or if you take that 1-800 number that will be in the recording of this event, those are the two easiest ways to reach out. You can also just go right to circuitstream.com. We have a live chat function. You can connect with Roham or one of our admissions agents there, and they can connect you to the right people. So basically, just let us know, reach out to us anyway, and we'll make sure that you get anything that you need there. How long does it usually take to install the editor?
It depends on the speed of your computer. Usually it's a big file and it takes like around 5 to 10 minutes max if you have a good good connection, of course, because it's a large file. That's an issue with Unity, and Unity keeps on changing the editor versions. They keep adding a bunch of stuff. Usually it takes a little while. That's one of the reasons why we shared the links to how to download Unity in the beginning, like a couple of days back.
Yeah, and like you said too, it'll really depend on your computer system and how much space you have on it left as well. So, okay, where did you find the terrain button? We went through some of these. Where do you build the assets? Oh, where do you build the assets?
Where do you build the assets? So most of these assets are not all of these assets are not done by me, of course. Most of these 3D models are downloaded from the Ghost. I downloaded from a website called Sketchfab, and the tree, the terrain that you can see, it is from Unity's asset store. Like if you go to Unity's asset store, you will be able to see like a bunch of different assets that you can download. You can put them into your project, and you can kind of you can use them if they're free, of course, and also you can buy assets. And also the pumpkin I got from Sketchfab. So most of those stuff are from Sketchfab. The other one is Unity's asset store.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, on the stream, I have 3 notifications under apps, but when I open them, I was informed I don't have any apps. Is there something I am missing? This must have been during the workshop portion there.
3 notifications under apps. I'm not sure which apps. Maybe if you can elaborate a little bit, that would be good, because I'm not sure whether there is anything called apps. And it doesn't actually show you any notifications. I'm pretty sure that Unity doesn't have any notification system, but if you can clarify what these apps mean, and whether it's in Unity or in other tool, I think that would be good.
Yeah, just let us know. Just elaborate a little bit more. We can definitely help there. Would Visual Studio Code work, or does it have to be the full-fledged Visual Studio?
No, you can use any editor that you can think of that supports C#. The code that we use is from a language called C#, and you can use Visual Studio Code. As a matter of fact, I prefer VS Code over Visual Studio, but I'm using Visual Studio because it has been integrated within Unity and the setup is a little bit easy. But Visual Studio is very quick. It doesn't need a lot of time to open, and even Notepad works. I think some of you have used Notepad during today's workshop. The whole point of using an external editor is to make your life easier to code. But to Unity, it doesn't matter. To Unity, what matters is whether you have the code in a text file somewhere with the proper name, and that's it. You can use any tool like Visual Studio Code or Visual Studio, JetBrains, or whatever the IDE or the tool that you're familiar with to code with Unity.
Perfect. And then you did answer this one earlier, but what does baking do exactly? Baking defines the possible areas that the agent can move.
Yes. So baking is, it's actually a question that is relevant to different ways. When it comes to baking in navigation, AI navigation in Unity, that means you are defining the areas that these AI agents can walk and cannot walk, right? So you can define, all right, so this is a place where I don't want the enemies to go. This is a place where I want the enemies to patrol around, right? So those things you can bake. Baking creates this area, and that area is kind of feeded into all these agents, so they know whether they want to go around something, around the wall instead of through the walls. Like you saw, like the trees that I added, they didn't work properly, so the ghost kind of moved through the trees. Obviously, it's possible, right? It's a ghost. So they can move through trees. Yeah. So that is it. There is another one called baking in lighting, but that's a whole different thing, and I don't think we have time to explain that today.
We'll save that for another workshop.
Yeah, do another workshop. Yes, exactly.
Will this bootcamp be helpful in getting a job within a studio as opposed to freelance work on your own? Absolutely. I mean, we have lots of students that have graduated and are doing work on their own. We have lots of students that have joined teams or studios, have gotten contract work. We do run, as a part of this bootcamp and part of the career support, we do offer a pitch day at the end of the bootcamp about a month after you graduate. So once you graduate, you get a little bit of time to get your resources and your portfolio together, your resume. And then once that's together, we host a live event and we invite indie and large studios, individual developers, companies, basically a whole pool of people to come and view your projects and your work. And it's pretty common that contracts and things would be offered during that presentation. Honestly, the whole thing is if you're starting this brand new, it's probably going to take you a couple years of developing and practicing before you'd be considered like a senior level developer or somebody who's going to get hired in a high role in one of these large studios. But there's internship options, there's early career options, there's lots of options for people who are just kind of starting their journey that you would definitely qualify for after you take the bootcamp with us. So
yeah. So I think also to add on to that, this bootcamp, what we do here is kind of like a mini computer science degree. So not only you're learning to make games, you're learning to code, and also you're learning to code in the best ways possible. So we are teaching not just code syntax, not just the alphabet. We are teaching correct grammar, right? If you put it like that, and we are teaching you the principles. Right? These tools, Unity or Unreal or whatever it is that you're going to be using in your career, while the principles remain same, the tool can be, how you click the buttons can be a little bit different, right? So you don't really need to worry about how to add the component here and there, because Unity might change how you do that. Because I remember start working with Unity like 7 years back, and what I did back then was completely different than what I do right now. Right? It's totally different. So it keeps changing. But our bootcamp, we're focusing more on the fundamentals. We're focusing on principles of programming, object-oriented programming, while making some cool games. So you're happy to join, and also it makes you very helpful in terms of getting a job if you are fully committed to all the projects that we do during the bootcamp. And of course, take all the support while you can while doing the bootcamp with all our instructors.
And play on your own, practice, make some horrible games on your own. That's the best advice I hear from some of the students is make bad games and publish them and get bad feedback, because it's the best way that you learn, and you just kind of keep growing with it. And it's fun. I mean, who doesn't like making games good or bad? It's just fun making them. So
your worst game is your first game. So keep on doing that.
Absolutely. So other than the bootcamp, what other courses do you suggest for game development? I'm sure there's lots of options out there. I mean, in terms of our portfolio that we offer through Circuit Stream, we do offer XR development and design as well, which can be incredibly supportive with game development. We have a lot of people that take both style courses and end up making XR style games or incorporating different concepts from both into whatever they're doing there. So outside of that, maybe Indi can offer some suggestions in terms of other support for that. I know Unity has some development tools as well.
Yeah, so if you wanna get started, you can of course use Unity. Has its own component called Unity Learn. So you can use that to get into the spectrum of Unity, understand the tool a little bit, just move around. Obviously, for most of you today, it has been a little bit of a roller coaster because it's a very new tool, and it's like it's like taking over a jet for the first time. But you can get hands-on with the very basics of all the components that are provided by Unity. So that it's more like you learn how each of these components, each of these building blocks work. And it's like learning a new language. You learn the alphabet, you learn the grammar, and it's up to you to make a poem out of it.
Absolutely. This is a fun one for you, Indy. This isn't for me because I'm certainly not a game developer. I'm a game player, but I don't develop myself. But Indy, how did you get into game development? I actually am curious. I want to know too.
Oh, so I actually, so it's not directly from game development. I'm originally from Sri Lanka, like the other side of the world. So in Sri Lanka, when it comes to virtual reality and augmented reality, there has been a huge boom of engagement when it comes to VR and AR, and that is something that I liked when it comes to 3D real time technology. So I joined a very early startup of about 10 people. And I joined there and I started working on simple AR, VR applications. I was the only guy who was doing AR and VR stuff. And then we decided, hey, what if we make mini games for companies? So it's more like a service-oriented company. And in Sri Lanka, we made a bunch of games. We made something called Mega Run. I'm not sure whether it's still around. It was downloaded. It's a mobile game, and it has been downloaded by 3 million users. I'm pretty proud of it because I'm the main guy who worked on that game. I'm not sure whether it's around. It's a ripoff of Subway Surfers. That's what I did. And then of course we made a bunch of games for different companies, but not all of these games are I'm not sure whether I can find all these links, but not all of these games are public facing games. There is one game that I worked on called Nero the Sniper. It's made using Unreal Engine. It's not Unity, but this is the last game that I did in my previous company. And then I thought, maybe I can teach. And that's why I joined Circuitstream. But these are a couple of games that I worked on. I worked at a company called Arimac. It's in Sri Lanka, and you can go to their website and see some of the projects that we have done. And if it is AR or VR or games, 99% of the time I was involved in those projects.
You're gonna have to show me some of these in the office tomorrow, Indy. I want to see.
Yeah, Nero the Sniper is the best one. It's in my language, and I'm one of those guys who are in the enemy pool, shouting in my own language, in our own Sri Lankan language. We've been shouting.
I want to see.
That's why it's fun recording all of those stuff back in the day.
Cool. And then, this one's good too. I followed the workshop up until the point where I had to press play on the game, and then the camera went to a weird angle. I couldn't fix it. I tried closing, reopening Unity. The ghost, first person, terrain, cube just disappeared. Is there an undo button for this for future reference?
There is no undo button for that. When you save, when you close the project and open it up again, most probably the undo button will not work. It's the usual undo button, Control Z, or you can go to edit menu and you can choose undo or whatever that you did. But when you click the play button, usually what happens is it goes to play mode. The gravity will start working, or the navigation mesh will start working. Everything will start working, right? So that's the game. It's the game. It's a fun game. It's not the AAA biggest game, but it was a hit in Sri Lanka. So I was talking about this Unity thing. When you click play, usually what happens is, because of gravity and because of all the other components comes to life, sometimes the movement can be a little bit tricky. So one thing that you can make sure is you can stop playing, don't do anything, just try to make sure that your objects are in correct places, right? Check whether objects are overlapping each other, or if your terrain is here and if your player is here, when you click play, the player will fall down, right? You put your, if this is your terrain and if this is your player, the player is kind of floating in space. So whenever you click play, the gravity will work and player will fall down, right? So that will happen, and you can move around and you will not see anything. So those things can happen, but with practice, you'll get to know how to mitigate those things.
Awesome. And then when will the recording be ready? I believe probably for this session. So the way this works is once the session's finished, it processes the recording, and then we will send out an email with it right afterwards. So probably within an hour or so at the end of the event, you should receive it. The other thing too is that we do upload all of our sessions to our YouTube channel, so Circuit Stream YouTube. So if for any reason, if somebody didn't receive this recording, or if it went to your junk mail and you missed it or deleted it or whatever happened, you can also go to our Circuit Stream page probably this evening, but certainly by tomorrow, and the video will be uploaded there as well for you. So I'll just say we've answered that one. What are some recommended programs I can take in university to help me become a game developer? Well, this would be one. The Game Development Bootcamp that we're looking at today would probably be a really good start for you. And this course is offered through several university partners, so it just kind of depends on where you're located there. But that'd probably be my top recommendation. I guess I'm a little biased because I do work at Circuit Stream, but our education is fantastic. So that would be a really good course for you to look at if you were starting brand new. What are your thoughts about Roblox? Take it away, Indi.
Good. That's a good tool. I mean, I really love how it opens up people to, we call them authoring tools. It's a pretty good tool. I've played Minecraft a lot. I haven't played Roblox a lot because I don't like the avatars. I feel like it would be nice if we can make our own avatars in it, which of course is possible now. But it's good. And I think the target market right now is not us. It's more like children, and they're doing wonders with Roblox. And on top of that, it's a good tool to teach fundamental programming and how programming works and things like that. And on top of that, it gives you the ability to make your own games. But it's a little limited. It has its own nodes and stuff to work on simple logic. And it's pretty much the same way how Meta's Horizon World works. There is another tool called Rec Room, and there are a lot of tools, and it's good to have that competition running. And I believe Roblox is far ahead because it has been something that's around for 10 to 20 years. I'm not sure how long it was around, but it's a good tool. Even let's say a bigger version of Roblox is Fortnite Creator, right? It has the platform, and it has given you components that you can use to create logic and create your own custom world out of it, which is good. And I think it's I know that Roblox has opened up 70 million fund or something. I'm not sure if it's 70 million or 100 million funds for creators to create digital worlds. And it's good. It's good to showcase your projects, your activities. If you want to create mini games and you want to share with each other, you can do that as well.
Yeah, we're a big fan of basically any development tools, even the ones that are a little bit limiting but easier to use. We'll teach you some of the fundamentals that you need to know too. So yeah, Roblox is great. We should first pass programming course, or do you teach that during the boot camp? Programming is built right into the boot camp. It's a fundamental part of it that you'd be learning through the development boot camp. Go ahead.
Yeah, good question. So I posted a link in the chat. So you're going to be spending your first month working on a game, a bowling game. And this is where you actually learn C# intro. Sorry, not intro to C#. You're learning very fundamentals of C#. But before that, you will also get access to a small on-demand C# course. This is where you learn the syntax of C#, like learning an alphabet. This is where you learn the alphabet. And during the bootcamp, when we start the bootcamp, we are working on a bowling game, and we are making the bowling game while exploring Unity, the tool that we use, and also exploring different ways how we can create logic using C#. So that is a very, very first level module. And after that, we're going to be moving into intermediate modules where we talk about object-oriented programming, data structures and algorithms, and things like that.
Perfect. So yeah, it's definitely built in. And Circuit Stream ever hire interns and co-ops? We do. Yeah. I mean, would depend on what it is and what you're looking to do. And I wouldn't know for sure if we have any opportunities like that available at the moment. But Mikhail, you're certainly welcome to reach out to the team here, and we can definitely have a conversation with you about that. We'll just mark that so that we have marked it as answered there. What is more relevant in the industry, Unity or Unreal for a generalist?
It depends on your end goal. If you want to jump into something like level design or like highly realistic simulations, I would recommend Unreal Engine over Unity all the time, because Unity has its own rendering pipelines, which just shows you where you can actually make realistic simulations. But you have to climb a bunch of steps to do that. Unreal Engine, from the ground up, is made with hyper realism in mind. And the other thing is, if you're jumping into mobile development, if you want to build mobile games, I would totally recommend Unity instead of Unreal Engine. Of course, there are a lot of games made using Unreal Engine for mobile, but there's a tremendous amount of games made using Unity Engine for mobile, and it's very supportive for all the mobile platforms, including VR and AR. Like all of the augmented reality and virtual reality SDKs that are around the world, out of the box supports Unity. Because Unity is one of the easiest tools to get into 3D real-time development. And on top of that, you can acquire a lot of transferable skills, so you can even move on to Unreal Engine, and you'll feel like you like the terms will be different, but it's pretty much the same things that you will see in the other tools as well.
Yeah, and like you just said, I was going to add that too, but you just kind of said it. Unity overall would be considered a little bit easier to start with than Unreal. Yeah. So a lot of people kind of start there and then move into more advanced skills like learning in Unreal afterwards. So, and do you know if this course is eligible for student loans? I'm not sure. You'd have to kind of, it would probably depend on the course. I guess the boot camp's a little bit longer, so it would probably be closer to being eligible for a student loan than say like our 10-week courses would be, for example. But the best thing we can do is connect you with the admissions team. They would have way more information on that than I do. And if they don't have an answer right away, they can work with you. We can reach out and get answers to that to figure out what would need to happen there. But yeah, sorry, I don't have an immediate answer for you. But if there was going to be funding available, it would probably be for the boot camp, like the longer courses that we have. So just reach out to admissions and they can definitely assist you there for that. So. Is there a big learning curve when it comes to learning Unreal if you know the fundamentals of using Unity?
No.
Yes and no, but no.
No, not a big learning curve, but you might have to get used to how logic works in Unreal Engine, because there are like a lot of, Unreal Engine uses C++, not C#, but they have a visual scripting tool called Blueprints. Blueprint stands for multiple things, but in Blueprints, you can use something called visual nodes, where instead of coding, you have like different building blocks that you can connect with each other. And Unreal Engine itself has provided a bunch of different components. And if you wanna create your own component, you have to use C++. But we made Nero the Sniper using Unreal Engine, and we haven't used any C++ code like code there. We've used only blueprints for that. So you can make stuff, you can make simulations, you can make games, and that's the only thing that you need to get used to. But on top of that, all the other skills like moving in 3D space, using materials, building worlds, and things like that, all of these are transferable skills, but you still have to get used to the user interface and how logic works. Like coming from Unity, you already know how logic works, so it's just a matter of implementing same logic into your Unreal Engine workflow.
Absolutely. Perfect. Well, and I think that's all of the questions in the questions tab. I'm just going to have a quick look through to anybody who said they had to hop off. Thanks for joining. If I missed you, I'm sorry there. I was on the questions tab. I wasn't in the chat tab for a little bit here, but I think we've covered everything. If anybody has any further questions or anything that we didn't cover here today, you are certainly welcome to reach out to us anytime. Just like I said, you can connect with us on the CircuitStream website. You can reach out to the admissions at CircuitStream email. Basically just reach out to us, flag us down, throw something at us, and we'll stop and make sure we answer and get some information for you there. So. But other than that, I want to take a quick moment and say thank you, Indi, for the amazing workshop today. I thought it was amazing. I'm sure everybody can see some thank yous already coming into the chat right as I said that here. So thank you so much. That was awesome. We'll send out the recording here afterwards for everybody, but thank you everyone for joining, for taking the time to join us for the workshop here today as well. We will have some more events coming up. It's a little bit quieter this time of year for the events, but we should have some coming up over the next month or so. So keep your eye on the Circuit Stream website. And yeah, just reach out to us if you need anything at all. But otherwise, thanks again. And we will see you everybody at the next event.
Cool. So as I said before, if you have any questions, feel free to work on your game after the session, watch the recording. If you have any questions, feel free to jump into our Discord community channel and ask a question.
Yeah, and I'll put it there one last time just in case. I know I shared it a few times, but that's the link there. So if you catch that, feel free to join the community and we will connect with you as well. All right. Bye, everybody. Have a great day. Cheers.
Bye-bye.